My name is Jordan Redfield Wade. By day, I'm a PI working for the NACPD. But by night, my friends, my family, and I fight for the city in a different way. We are the guardians of Newark City. I promised my mother as she lay dying that I would protect and defend this city from anyone that would mean to cause it harm. I am a protector. I am a guardian. I am Red Wing. Episode 3. What have you done?
Hello, kittens! It's your favorite stylish, intrepid journalist, Kit Mojito, filling you in on the most pressing local news and the hottest gossip in Newark City. And my kittens, do I have a special show for you today. Today's show will redefine what you believe is even real about the world. But I think we should go in order, don't you? Let's start in the beginning. There was a murder in the morning. 2 queer youths sadly taken to earth. Let's have a moment of silence for them, please. Rest in paradise, gentlemen. Anyway, so while I was at the crime scene, I was approached by a source and given an inside scoop on something I thought, and quite frankly still think, is absolutely bug wild. So you know I was gonna be there because Kit Mojito Carbone, what? Never turns down a lead, honey. Anyway, so Mr. Jordan Redfield Wade was throwing a semi-private shindig at the Redfield Wade estates. And ooh, how bushy! And I was given exclusive rights to live stream the inside of the meeting. Also, an update on our good old friend JRW. Word on the street is that he and Hunky Studmuffin, aka Dean Moringham, cannot agree on a very crucial wedding detail. Do I detect trouble in paradise? I don't know about y'all, but if Dean goes back on the market, the boys in blue might be seeing a lot more of me at the NACPD, honey. Anyway, at the little soiree, Jordan made an announcement that had the entire audience shook. You see, everyone expected Jordan and the rest of the founding family council to back current mayor and Newark City sweetheart, Fayth Flaherty, for the upcoming election. Well, now that FFC is torn, hunty, Jordan announced that he too would be running for mayor of our fair city. I was shook. It is no secret that Jordan and Fayth ain't seen it for each other in a minute. But I did not expect Jordan to do something that shady or manipulative and honestly a little tacky. That was buck wild on its own. But the night only got stranger. We discovered that little Miss Elizabeth Brennan had apparently been missing for 6 months. Other details came to light, but out of respect to Lizzie Brennan, I will not be going into those details. I would like to say that the person responsible for her pain was behind bars, but I can't. I witnessed this with my own eyes. Lizzie Brennan killed her parents and abused her using some form of what I can only describe as magic. When it looked as though she was going to turn this power onto the other attendants, Red Wing and his vigilante gang showed up with their own surprise magical abilities, and I, personally, would like to thank Red Wing for making sure that I lived to see another day. Currently, Lizzie Brennan is still alive, but she's in critical condition at New Arklow General Hospital. Now, even though I was shaken by the current incident, I caught all of it. The whole thing on video. Please, if you are faint of heart, note that the following clip might be disturbing.
Whether or not you love or hate Kit, you have to acknowledge that they are great for a bright red lip, a sharp tie, and a rousing summation of events. Kit is nothing if not a storyteller. I shut off the broadcast and turned back to face Joanna and Scarlett. Scarlett had requested that only the two of us be around for when she filled us in on what she knew, on who the collector was, and what exactly he was collecting. She was holding her cup of tea gently, trying to keep it from rattling, and taking a few deep, calming breaths. I was concerned at how worked up she was about what she had to say, and I hoped that we'd all feel better after she told us. We'd, at the very least, be more prepared. I could only hope.
Oh, okay. I think I'm ready.
Take your time, Scarlett.
Yeah, baby, we're right here with you.
Joanna gripped Scarlett's hand, causing Scarlett's tensed-up shoulders to loosen slightly.
To understand this, we have to go back to when I was a little girl living in Cork. I was brought into this world within the Kilkee Stone Ring, surrounded by my mother and her coven, the Daughters of the Moon. My mother chose that spot because anyone born there was said to be blessed with great benevolent power, and indeed she was right. When I was a wee toddler, I could summon rain or sunshine. I would play with the Fayth folk, and they treated me like a young queen. I would build them small houses and leave them offerings, and they along with the coven taught me all about magic. Of course, when it came time to attend school, I did, but I would keep to myself. I had heard tell of what non-witches thought of my family and my mother's coven. As you can imagine, though, it is really hard to keep the amount of magic I had secret. I was playing near the stone ring one day when I was 8 and heard a young boy crying. He had been bitten by a snake and it looked poisonous. There were no adults around, so I did what I had to and I used my powers to heal his leg. The little boy thanked me, certainly, but his family tried to burn my family's home to the ground, claiming I was some sort of changeling demon child. My mother and I were forced to move to London. I was put into private school. I didn't really use my powers much, just the occasional good luck charm for a friend in their time of need.
She paused for a moment to collect herself.
The Daughters of the Moon Coven welcomed me into the coven officially when I was 13, but my ceremony was strange. When I drew down the moon, the standard rite of passage for witches, the moon went from silvery whitish blue to an angry blood red. I was scared and I didn't know what it meant. The head witch said that it was a sign I was too powerful and that my powers wouldn't be benevolent. She told me I must always wear this bracelet, the one you've seen on my wrist. It would restrict my powers and keep them from consuming me and keep me from hurting others. I was fine with this. There is more than one way to work a spell, and more than one way for me to use magic for good. And that's what I tried to do until I met him.
Go on.
When I was 18, I met Rhys Martin. I met him in university. He was tall, blonde, dashing. I was smitten immediately. He played LaCroix, but he wasn't brash or bro-ish. He was smart. He was one of the only people I could actually engage in debate about mythology and metaphysics. It wasn't long before he told me that he was a witch as well. It was a dream come true. He asked me out on a date. One thing led to another, and we were together for 5 years. When I was 23, we moved into a flat together, and on Samhain that same year, he proposed to me on the London Bridge. The ring was beautiful. I said yes, but that's when it happened. A few feet from us, a cyclist fell off their bike in the middle of the street. The car swerved. I missed them, veering right for Rhys and myself. Rhys.
Scarlett, I'm so sorry. You don't need to say it. You can just show me.
Scarlett touched my temple, and I could see her memories. I saw the car slam into Rhys. I watched the car and Rhys fly right off the bridge into the water. A tear fell from my own eye. I heard Scarlett scream. I saw her pull off her bracelet and saw her eyes glow a deep blood red. I watched as she lifted Rhys's body out of the water, laying him gently on the pavement. His eyes were open, but sightless. I saw the cyclist run over her and ask if she needed help. And then I watched as Scarlett's eyes turned as black as night as she reached out and touched the man's cheek. I heard the cyclist scream, and I shook her hand away from my face. I looked at her, sitting in her chair, head in her hands, sobbing weakly.
Scarlett? What happened to the cyclist?
I didn't realize it would work. All these years, I thought it had failed.
Scarlett, did you kill him?
She didn't answer, but it didn't take a genius. Scarlett had unleashed her powers in an effort to save the man she loved. She lost control, and she tried to trade the cyclist for Rhys. She thought it had failed, and left the country to forget everything she lost. And 7 years later, here we were. But she had not failed. Rhys was alive. And what's more, this was not the first time I had seen Rhys.
Joanna, Rhys Martin is the scientist that I rescued from the lab. He's the one who sent out the shockwave. He did it so he could gather the powers from those that arose. But why?
He wants to be immortal. There's an old magical theory that says he who possesses the control over the elements will gain control over life and death and creation itself. I'm so sorry. I never thought he would have survived.
We all make mistakes. I know neither of us will ever hold that against you. You weren't in control.
What are we going to do about this?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. But I know where we have to start.
I reached for my phone and dialed Keiran.
Come on. Pick up.
Hello, this is the key.
This is the key? What the hell? Keiran, who taught you how to answer a phone?
What's up, Jay? Anything important?
I need my biomedical dream team to figure out what's wrong with the girls. We need to figure out how to wake them up. I've got Scarlett and Joe here.
Hey, ladies. What are you thinking?
Scarlett, I need you to reach out to your old coven and dig up what you know about the power theft. I'll see about tracking Rhys down. Joanna, I need you to search for Rhys Martin's image in as many places as possible and see what you find. I need an alias. Any kind of lead I can get. I need an alias. Any kind of lead I can get for where Zombie Loverboy might have been the last 7 years.
You got it. I'll call a lift. Key, can you meet us in the lobby of the new Arklow General?
Already on my way. See you soon.
Alright, scoot you guys. I've got some thinking to do. And Scarlett?
Yeah?
If I was in your position, and it had been Dean lying there, I would have done the exact same thing.
Really?
Without question. Now go on. I'll see y'all tonight.
Stay safe, Jordan.
Always do, Joe. Always do.
I shot off a text to Dean.
Safe to call?
Sure. I'm in the precinct, but it's quiet.
Okay, dialing in 3, 2...
Hey, gorgeous.
Hey, handsome.
What's on your mind?
Okay, don't freak out, but I talked to your moms yesterday.
Oh? What about?
About your biological dad.
I don't really know why you would do something like that.
Look, I'm sorry. I know I crossed a line, having that convo without you there. But I did it because, about a week ago, when we were sparring, you cried out suddenly and then you blacked out. While you were blacked out, your body went all haywire. You were saying a bunch of weird stuff, and then you mentioned your father. I wanted to see if I could find out what happened to you, or maybe find out what your father had to do with it.
Jay, why didn't you tell me about this? It happened to me, and you didn't think to let me know?
I didn't want to stress you out, and to be honest, I was scared. I mean, sure, my future husband is bulletproof, but what if those bullets are coming from inside his own brain? I am scared that there isn't an answer. I don't know. I love you. I know I should have told you, and I'm sorry.
You're right. You should have told me. I love you too. I understand. Well, did you find out anything?
I got a name. But your moms were being super weird about it. And what's more, I couldn't find anything about him. The name they gave me was a complete dead end. The initial Google search only turned up a mention of a Mr. Morrigan building a castle in western Massachusetts in 1885.
That's odd. Last name Morrigan? But why would they give you the name of someone from inside our family?
They said that as a couple, they were required to adopt the name Morrigan in exchange for that man fathering you.
That's a really, really odd request.
Yeah, tell me about it. Have you heard from them?
I'll call them in a few. What are you going to do in the meantime?
Oh. Shit. Babe, I'll call you back. Call your moms. Bye. It was Fayth.
Yikes, this was not good. Her face was the color of my family crest, and I was certain that I saw steam coming out of her ears. There was a fury in her eyes that felt strangely familiar.
What the fuck is your problem?
And top of the morning to you too, Fayth.
You can fuck right off with your good mornings, Jordan, you loathsome tool.
Oh my god, Fayth! How did you figure out my porn star name?
Why did you do that last night? What the hell business do you have running for mayor?
Oh, that's what you're mad at?
What else could I possibly be mad at?
Your edges? That's a bad weave you got on your head right now. Ooh, wow. Okay, I think I might have deserved that.
Fayth grabbed me by the shirt collar and pushed me back against the bookshelf. It shook, and a copy of A Midsummer Night's Dream fell and hit me squarely in the head.
Ow! Fuck! Jesus, ow!
Why the fuck did you announce your candidacy?
Because I fucking could. Is there a problem?
Yeah, there is. The problem is you're an immature fucking moron.
My IQ is 125. What's yours? 25?
And that's exactly what I mean. Only a literal child would bring IQ into a fight over credentials for city government. I studied poli-sci. I have a decade of experience working for the government and 4 years as council chair.
Blah, 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 whatever. Honestly, I don't care about your career. My announcement had nothing to do with you. I see this as a moment to actually give the people what they want. I don't think you're cut out for the job, and I believe in being the change you want to see in your government.
Why? Why? What makes you think I can't do this job? Point of fact, I've been doing the job for 6 months already, and I've made an actual difference.
Oh yeah? Well, where's your housing development for the homeless and needy?
Helping people is not about how much money you have to flash around. You'd know that if you weren't an arrogant little shithead, but you've always been this way. You just throw money at your problems to fix them. I don't know what your actual problem is with me, but I know that it's a you problem. I'm helping while you throw parties that people lose their lives while attending. Honestly, have you even been to see those 2 girls in the ER? They are both in a coma after interactions with your vigilante pal.
I didn't start this, Fayth. You were the one who was mean to me first. I tried to help you years ago, tried to do something nice for you, and ever since then you've been nothing but a bitch to me.
Drop out of the race.
Get out of my shop.
Make me.
Is that a threat?
I'm not nearly stupid enough for that.
Wow. You've got 25 seconds to leave this office.
And if I don't, what? You gonna call the police chief?
You know what? Fine, Fayth. Fine. You want to know why I actually made that announcement last night? I'll tell you. It was a setup. It was a setup for Red Wing. I guessed that the creature calling itself Marrow would attack. And he asked me for a distraction. I wasn't even going to file the paperwork, and thus not ever actually be on the ballot. And
what? Added bonus, you managed to piss me off? You wanted to keep me on my toes? I'm genuinely asking, what the fuck is your problem with me?
I guess I don't like someone who will throw everyone and everything under the bus just for a glimpse and taste of power. Whatever it takes, you always aim for the top, and I don't think you deserve it.
And why don't I deserve it? Huh? I didn't have literal geniuses for parents. I had to earn each and every grade I got. I paid for my college myself by working as an assistant in a law firm every holiday break. I shook every hand. I made every connection. I did everything I was supposed to do to become the youngest mayor in our state's history. And what about you, huh? What did you do to deserve your wealth and status? The answer is, of course, nothing. All of this belongs to your dead parents.
Don't you dare speak of them.
And you know I'm right.
You know nothing about me. Ain't that funny? You've known me since we were children, and you know not a single goddamn thing about me. But then again, how could you know anything about me? That would require you caring about anyone else other than yourself for once in your miserable life.
Pull out of the election.
I'll pull out of the election when every Jim, Jake, and John on the street corner pulls out of your whore of a husband's ass.
She raised her hand to slap me again, but she just sighed and narrowed her eyes. I thought I saw them flash with a pink glow. I then saw a tear begin to form at the corner of her eye. She began to walk towards the door.
Whatever. I'm going to go do my part. I'm going to go see those girls. But this isn't over, Jordan. Do you hear me? This is not over.
Bring it on, Fayth. Bring it on.
That was draining. I texted Joanna to warn my crew about Fayth and the girls. I rubbed the bridge of my nose and scowled at my desk. Was this really the line of too far? Was this the final straw before the knockdown, drag-out fight between me and Fayth? Honestly, I wasn't sure. And to be quite honest about all of it, I don't know why I did what I did. What is it about Fayth that rubs me the wrong way? Technically speaking, what she said about my wealth and status was very much true. My family helped build the infrastructure of this city. And when it came time for me to help people, I chose one of the only ways that would never give you any sort of positive publicity. And why was that? Why did I choose to be a private detective? How does the world truly benefit from me discovering that someone has a cheating spouse? Simple. It doesn't. This world and how its people treat each other are a very mixed bag. Our planet was able to support life, but we can't even be kind to one another, let alone it. I seldom require profit from these cases. So there's that at least. Something Fayth said nagged at me. I had at that point seen her working hard for a long time, and she was still doing that. In public, she rarely let herself break, but when she did, it was usually at me. Maybe the fault of that was on me somehow. I pondered this for about an hour or so before receiving a text from Dean.
My parents aren't home, Jay. I'm freaking out. Their car isn't in the driveway. There's no note about where they went, just a page with weird symbols on it.
Dean sent an image that appeared to be 3 interlaced arches in a circle going through the 3 loops. I knew this one. It was the triquetra. Next to it in the photo were 3 black feathers, a half-burnt candle, and the same shape that had appeared on Dean's arm during his little freak-out. I was about to reply to the text, but Dean replied first.
Jared just texted me. He needs us at 29 Fiction Avenue, 3rd floor. Now.
On my way.
I grabbed my jacket and bolted out the door. Joanna, Keiran, and Scarlett sat in the waiting room trying to think of a plan.
So, we have 2 girls, both having been stripped of their powers by this Rhys fellow. Both these girls are in a coma after going through some bizarre revenge-fueled rage fest?
Seems just about right.
This doesn't make full sense, but I think I got it partially. Joe, when you looked at our powers in the lab, you found that they were part of our DNA, partially passed down from our families.
Sort of. I was able to find the differences between the activated DNA and the inactive DNA. When I was in my office, I snagged a copy of the girls' DNA, and both Ember O'Hay and Elizabeth Brennan still had a few indications of activated DNA.
Wait, they did?
Seems it.
Maybe that's the ticket then.
How so?
Remember when Jordan held in the bulk of that explosion? He was unconscious for 3 days due to simple exertion. When we looked at the contents of his blood right after the bomb, we noticed he wasn't healing himself due to a lack of life force magic in his blood. He started healing because he was on his property.
Scarlett, are you suggesting we kidnap 2 coma patients and bring them to the estate?
No, God no, of course not. I'm suggesting we give them a little magical boost. Keiran, I'm sure someone in your pantheon can heal magical ailments. Do you think you can call them forth?
That's a good plan. It could work. But what if we wake the girls up and they're still,
Teenage rage zombies? Teen ragers?
Sure, let's go teen ragers.
We're just going to have to risk it. They can't stay like this. The damage from the coma gets more permanent the longer it lasts.
Alright. Wait. Hey. That's Fayth.
Jordan told me she would be here, and she's going into Elizabeth's room. Keiran, you're in doctor's attire. Quick, follow after her.
Joe, wait, what?
Joanna pushed Keiran towards Elizabeth's door. Keiran stood in the doorway and watched as Fayth approached the girl. She gently touched Elizabeth's hand, picking them up and holding them in a tender manner. Fayth spoke quietly, but Keiran could hear just enough.
You poor thing. I wish I'd known about your suffering before. I wish I'd been able to help you.
Keiran watched as a tiny tear dropped from Fayth's eye and fell on Elizabeth's hands. Fayth's eyes glowed a gentle pink color, and Keiran could have sworn he saw a little ripple of pink where the tear landed on Elizabeth's skin.
Fayth? What are you doing here?
Oh my God, you're awake.
Where are my parents?
You don't remember?
What are you talking about?
I'm so sorry to tell you, sweetheart, but your parents are dead. They were the victims of a violent attack, as were you, at the home of Jordan Redfield Wade. You've been in a coma. What's the last date you remember?
Oh, God, I don't know. It was mid-September, I think.
That was 6 months ago. Okay. I'm gonna go get the doctor. Don't worry, everything will be okay. I'll be right here with you.
Fayth got up and left the room.
Wait. Where's Ember?
She is also in a coma.
Who are you?
I'm a friend of Red Wing. He, sent me to check on you, to see if you changed at all. He actually sent me here to heal you.
I was in a coma. How could you have healed that?
I don't exactly know. I'd figure something out.
Do you think you could fix Ember?
I promise you that I will try.
Okay. Go. Fix my friend. Thank you. Wait. What's your name?
You can call me Sparrow.
Keiran walked out of the room, narrowly avoiding Fayth as she came back in. After a quick whispered word to Joe about keeping tabs on Fayth and Elizabeth, Keiran walked down the hall, finding Ember's room. He made a show of checking the charts and entering the room. The room was familiar to him. This was the same room where he'd said goodbye to his father for the last time. He shuddered and walked over to the unconscious girl. Keiran stared at the girl and put his hand on his dad's pendant.
Dad, if you're listening... Oh, who am I kidding? I know you are listening to me. Of course you can. That's part of this gift you left me. I know you're listening. Papa, I need help. I don't know what gift Fayth has. I don't know how she healed that girl, but now I must heal this one. And... God's above. I just don't know how. I don't even know what's wrong with her.
You mean you went to medical school for 3 years and you still ain't know the first rule with new patients?
Oh my God! Oh, Christ almighty. Jesus! Dad! A little warning next time?
Oh, Lil Key. You know your old man likes making an entrance?
Right. You haven't appeared to me before now, but I'm glad you're here. Wait. I thought you moved on to the next plane of existence.
Oh, son, I did. And let me tell you, the Mai Tais in Heavenly Guinea are to die for. But when your son, your own flesh and blood Hungan of a son, calls out for help, you answer that call. But we may not have much time.
Have you ever seen this before?
All those years ago, whenever Terry and Malia banished Isaac, they stripped him of his powers. I helped him do it. Knowing what I know now, I might not have done it, but I did. I summoned their ancestors, and with their help, they drained his power, known as the Guardian's power, from him. They captured every last drop of that power, and with the ancestral blessing, they severed the connection to the land, so he could never recharge that gift. So all he had left was the power to move objects. But had they taken too much of his powers, Isaac would have been left much like Ember here.
But how do we pull her out of it?
Little Ember here, she's strong. Strong women like that ain't about to let all her power go. She's like a car battery. She just needs a jump. And you, my boy, need to help her reignite that spark. And for that, you'll need to call somebody through the mark of Legba.
But who do I...
I must go, my son. I love you, little Key. You got this. Be strong, my boy.
Dad, wait. Oh, okay. Papa, I love you too.
Wilson LaCroix's transparent body disappeared. Keiran was left looking at Ember's closed eyes. He waited for a second. Then he dug his hand into his pocket, pulling out a single matchstick.
Maybe this is what she'll need to reignite that spark. Maybe it'll help. Okay, let's see. Okay, which of the Loa do I call on here? Okay, I've got it. Sobokesu, for strength and magical healing. Perfect.
Kieran's eyes glowed a purple color, and Legva's mark on the back of his neck began to glow.
Retabli.
Kieran's hands glowed a dark blue color. He hovered his hands above the match which he'd placed over Ember's heart. There was a thunderclap, and a jolt of electric energy that passed through his hands and into her chest, igniting the match before disintegrating it entirely. The match joined the layer of ash on her skin for only a second before Ember sat straight up in the hospital bed, her eyes springing open and sucking in a mouthful of air. The energy from Keiran instantly died down, and he fell backwards onto the ground. Ember's eyes looked terrified and filled with shock. Before Keiran could act, she pulled the IVs and tubes out of her arm and nose and stood up. She ran out the door and down the hall. Keiran didn't get up in time to follow, but what he heard from Joe and Scarlett about 5 minutes later was that Ember ran down the hallway looking for Elizabeth. And when she found her, Ember threw herself into Elizabeth's arms. And the two girls embraced, never willing to be parted by anyone in space and time, ever again. When I opened the door to the third-floor apartment at 29 Fiction Avenue, I didn't know what I would find. Only a few years ago I'd opened this door to find a dead woman with black hair, pale skin, and ruby red lipstick lying naked in a glass box, clutching a red delicious apple that had been dipped and coated in arsenic. This was a few days after, just down the street from Joanna's and my former apartment, they'd found the bodies of a straight couple dead from stab wounds in their bed, and the naked body of another young woman drowned in a kiddie pool just outside their window. It was about 3 days before Dean and I located the body of a sex worker that had become a meal for her pet husky named Oscar. Fortunately, she was the last of the fairy tale killer's victims, but it never failed to make me nervous, getting called back to the scene of one of my most trying cases. I don't know that I could have been prepared for what I actually got, though. When I pushed open the door, I noticed the room was completely empty except for 3 chairs occupied by 3 people. All 3 of them stood when I entered. One of them was Dean, who looked more worried than I'd seen him in a while. The other was an officer, who looked at me apologetically. And the other was a woman that I didn't recognize, but she wore a much similar outfit to Dean. She was in her mid-40s, and her eyes bore a look that generally said, "Look, pal, I've heard and I've seen it all." Given the context, I deduced that she was an officer of some kind, but I don't think she answered to Jared. I think Jared and Dean answered to her.
Are you Jordan Redfield White?
When last I checked, yes, that was my name.
Ah, yeah, good. Good, we've been waiting.
Hope I haven't kept you waiting too long, Officer...
Detective, actually, Detective Coates.
Detective Coates. Charmed, I'm sure. Hey, Officer June. How have you been? How's the wedding planning going? Were you able to get the location you wanted? I thought that I'd...
Jordan, now is not really the time.
Oh.
Jordan Redfield Wade, you are under arrest for aiding and abetting a known criminal, obstruction of justice, and contributing to the murder of William O'Hay. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided for you. Do you understand these rights as I have recited them for you, Jordan?
Yes. Yes, Detective Coates. Dean, call my lawyer. Call Willa.
Thank you for listening to Red Wing. Stay tuned. There might just be a post-credits scene. Today's episode was written by J.V. Hampton-VanSant. This week you heard the voice talents of J.V. Hampton-VanSant, Elie Hirshman, Amanda Jacobson, Skyler Paring, Christine Osimo, Jordan Cobb, Nathan Foster, Lucy Fitzgerald, Atticus Jackson, Sarah Golding, and stay tuned for the credits where you'll hear the voice of Jessa Nicholson-Getz. For the complete cast list, please visit redwingpodcast.com. The title this week is based on the song What Have You Done by Within Temptation. You'll find a link to that song in the show notes. Episode art this week is by Michael Godfrey. Our music is composed by Nico of We Talk of Dreams. If you want to listen to any of these themes, please visit our website. Check out our show notes for links to our merch, our social media, and our website. As always, stay safe and fly high, heroes.
Listen, Nick, I don't care what you say. We're not representing that motherfucker in a court of law. No, honestly, I would rather use a cucumber for a dildo than have to stand up in front of 12 people with my name on this door defending this guy. There's no challenge here. There's nothing even interesting about his case. Plus, he's like 1,000% guilty, and he even told everyone he was guilty. We can't suppress that. We're stuck with it. I just don't have time to lose that publicly. But hold on. I'm getting another call. Pray for an interesting client for me. Hello? Oh, Detective Morrigan, how great to hear from you. How are you? How's your fiancé? Oh, you don't say. Huh. You're kidding. Oh, you're not kidding. Well, that's, surprising. Okay, then. Oh, honey, say no more. I'm down. Absolutely. You shouldn't even hesitate. Yeah, of course. Dean, come on. You know me. You know how much I love a good challenge. Don't worry about it. Willa Savage is on the case.